Hello and welcome to Thai Nguyen News. Now today's headlines. Investment certificate granted to Doosan Vietnam company. Provincial leaders work with hayashiya Corporation, Japan. Emotionally driven day at DK1 rig. On May the 14th, Thai Nguyen Provincial People's Committee had a meeting with Doosan Vietnam Limited Company. This is considered a satellite company under the chain of companies specializing in products for the Korean Samsung Corporation.
Doosan Vietnam Company is expert at manufacturing and printing carton packages, paper boxes and paper bags, and capable of producing 10,000 tons per year. The project was granted to be built on an area of 1.5 hectares at Nguyen Gon Industrial Complex in Cai Dan Ward, Sông Công Town, Thai Nguyen Province, with total expected investment of 14 million USD. This project is significant in paving the way to attract investment in ancillary industries under the framework of Samsung Thai Nguyen Factory Project. At the meeting, Mr. Dương Ngọc Long, chairman of Thai Nguyen Provincial People's Committee, confirmed that Thai Nguyen has been providing favorable conditions for rapid implementation of the project. Mr. Giang Kun Giang, chairman of the executive board, general director of Doosan Vietnam Limited Company, was committed to develop the company with friendly and safe environmental criteria.
Production activities of industries on processing, fabrication, mineral extractives, metallurgy, construction materials, electricity and water production seem to recover and begin increasing again. This can be seen as good news for industry sector of the province. In the second quarter of 2013, businesses are speeding up their production without jeopardizing quality to complete and exceed the required plan by implementing many important solutions simultaneously, such as researching and reorganizing production activities, strengthening management work to reduce input and indirect expenses, improving labor productivity, cooperating and searching markets, and making inventories to strive for stable production and business. A large-scale project implemented in the second quarter will contribute an important part in the growth of industrial production value and the whole industrial sector. Specifically, New Farm Mineral Exploiting and Processing Project and the Thai Chung Rolling Steel Factory Construction Project with a total capacity of 500,000 tons of steel production in a year are now in operation. The other mineral exploiting and processing projects in the area have also been showing a substantial increase in productivity. On May the 13th, Mr. Dương Ngọc Long, chairman of Thai Nguyen Provincial People's Committee, welcomed and worked with representatives of hayashiya Corporation of Japan, who came to study the tea industry in Thai Nguyen.
Hayashiya Corporation of Japan has a tradition of over 260 years in the field of manufacturing and trading tea products. The visit gave Hayashiya Corporation an opportunity to seize off the chance of investing on tea industries in Thai Nguyen, with focus on three factors: quality of engineering, processing technology, and the serious commitment of tea growers. On behalf of the Thai Nguyen leaders, Mr. Long highly appreciated willingness of Japan Hayashiya Corporation to invest in the province. He also confirmed that the development of tea industry is one of the leading economic upsurges that is given particular interest by Thai Nguyen provincial leader. Aiming for development and cooperation, Thai Nguyen Province will provide favorable conditions for hayashiya to speed up their plan of investment in tea production business.
Phú Bình and Đồng Hỷ districts conducted a preliminary review of winter-spring crop 2012-2013 and implemented plans for season crop 2013. In spring crop 2013, Đồng Hỷ district cultivated over 2,000 hectares of rice plants, achieving 103% of the plan as compared to the same period last year. 1,200 hectares of which are sown and zoned area directing highly intensive farming production with estimated average yield of 52 kg per hectare. Also, many targets of Phú Bình district were fundamentally achieved and even exceeded the plan, showing significant growth compared to the same period last year. The district cultivated over 5,000 hectares of rice plants, equaling 100.09% of the target, increasing 0.31% compared to the same period in 2012. Propagation and mobilization campaigns are hoped to help farmers cultivate in accordance with the seasonal calendar and perform the intensive farming and disease prevention measures to ensure that good growth and development of plants will bring higher economic efficiency in the upcoming spring-summer crop. And this is another report on Trường Sa. The 8th day on the journey of mission number 4 was definitely a day full of emotions for its entire 180 members. The day when the soldiers were particularly interested in. The ways, the solitude of the rig and the soldiers were felt with all respect, admiration and the sincerity of love.
The DK1 rig, Complex of Economic Services, Science and Technology, which is 250 to 350 nautical miles far from the mainland, is the most severe place for soldiers to live in. Approaching the rig was so difficult that not all the members of the mission were allowed to embark in it. As planned, about 10% of the whole mission members, equal to only 2 groups on 2 boats, were selected to visit the rig. The rest regretted not having been chosen, but they surely understood. At last, the reporters of Thai Nguyen radio and television station were chosen. The boats left the mothership. The sky and the sea were so clearly blue, but the waves were not gentle at all. Never can we forget the image of the soldiers on the DK1 rig, waiting for the ship 8Q561. I feel nervous but delighted as well. This trip is really meaningful. It was too hard to express with words how moved we were looking at the images of everyday life. Simple things such as the knives, the cutting boards, and the wash bowls, and the garden of vegetables that looked like a bed inviting to be occupied. Simple things such as the knives, the cutting boards, and the wash bowls, and the garden of vegetables that looked like a bed inviting to be occupied are simply realities of what can be called an everyday life. The green hue provides a serenity that is more meaningful than it is anywhere else. Or surrounded by water waves, the green still spreads all over, symbolizing the determination, consistency, creativity, and a sense of romance for the soldiers here. The 10 strong, sturdy soldiers of different ages on the rig DK18 gave us the feelings of empathy and trust. 174 people sitting here are looking toward the DK1. I feel very happy as our leader could remember exactly addresses of all group members, which may not be done by other leaders. This reveals that living in such remote areas has promoted our brotherhood and comradeship. The Golden Book has been kept for 18 years, but the recorded pages are very few compared to its thickness, yet the noted pages are full of affection, respect, trust, and love. During the last 10 months, no one has visited the rig DK18. The space of the rig is so familiar and touching. The rig DK19, not far from the rig DK18, is within the vision of our eyes. There was no way to take all the chosen people to meet the soldiers due to the growing waves. The ship was moved so that the naval soldiers can move the presence of the rig as they communicated with the soldiers on it. All the people watched their movements farther and farther away as a small dot toward the rig.
Saying goodbye to Trường Sa and the rig, we returned to the mainland. The mission was successful, which was certainly marked by emotion, determination, and more maturity as we think of our homeland. That comes to end the program today. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye.